June 1944. This was to mark the start of the end of World War II, wherein Germany was forced to fight a war on two fronts. With the mounting German threat, the Allied forces hatched a plan in May 1943 to conduct a cross-channel invasion the following year, in which thousands of troops would be deployed into German-occupied France. Eisenhower had tentatively selected the 5th of June 1944 as the date for the assault. However, high winds and heavy seas made it impossible to launch landing craft, and low clouds would prevent aircraft from finding their targets. As a result, the 6th of June 1944 was the chosen date, with Normandy on the French coast being selected as the landing site of the armed forces. A full moon was desirable, as it would provide illumination for aircraft pilots and have the highest tides. The Allies also scheduled the landings for shortly before dawn, midway between low and high tide, with the tide coming in. This would improve the visibility of the obstacles on the beaches while minimizing the amount of time the men would be exposed in the open. The 6th of June 1944 would forever be known as D-Day. Operation Overlord was the name assigned to the establishment of a large-scale landing of armed forces in France. The first phase thereof, being an amphibious invasion at Normandy on D-Day, was codenamed Operation Neptune. The Normandy landings were the largest seaborne invasion in history, with nearly 5,000 landing and assault craft, 289 escort vessels, and 277 minesweepers participating. Nearly 160,000 troops crossed the English Channel on D-Day, with 875,000 men disembarking by the end of June. After the war, in 1947, she was sold to the South African Navy and renamed the SAS Pietermaritzburg. The ship was later converted into a midshipman's training ship during the early 1960s. She then served as a barrack ship from 1968 to 1991, when Pietermaritzburg was listed for disposal. She was scuttled as an artificial reef at 1100 hours on 19 November 1994. Several hundred people gathered to pay their respects, and Padre Ralph Thornley, who had served on her as an able seaman, led the prayers. Her final resting place is approximately 1 nautical mile off Miller's Point, Simonstown, South Africa. She lies at a maximum depth of 22 meters, with the shallowest part of the wreck in 15 meters. She lies basically upright, with her bow facing southwards. The wreck is generally intact, although her bow has collapsed over to her port side following the removal of her wheelhouse during unsanctioned salvage operations. Given the significance of the role that the HMS Pelorus, now the Pietermaritzburg, played in D-Day, Underwater Explorers, a Cape Town-based scuba diving charter operation, decided to honor the former HMS Pelorus by commemorating the 75th anniversary of D-Day. This was achieved by laying a wreath on the waters above the wreck, during which a minute's silence was observed. The divers of Underwater Explorers then dived down onto the rusting remains of the former HMS Pelorus and placed a commemorative plaque on the bow of the sunken wreck. The plaque not only honors but remembers the gallant and heroic efforts of all that served upon the former HMS Pelorus, specifically those that tragically lost their lives in the service of their country, the United Kingdom. The wreck recently acquired protected status, and as a result, no part thereof may be removed or destroyed in terms of the National Heritage Resources Act. The HMS Pelorus was an Algerine-class minesweeper built for the Royal Navy during World War II by Lobnitz of Renfrew in Scotland, and launched on 18th of June 1943. Upon completion, the ship became the flotilla leader of the 7th Minesweeper Flotilla under the command of Commander George Nelson, clearing mines off the east coast of England. In June 1944, the flotilla was assigned to sweep one of the beaches during the Normandy landings. As flotilla leader of the 7th Minesweeper Flotilla, HMS Pelorus was the most forward ship to sweep a clear path for the invasion armada to the beachhead on Normandy codenamed Juno. Her role in providing lead support for the remainder of the flotilla was thus pivotal to the ultimate success of the Allied forces during Operation Neptune, and no doubt contributed to the surrender of Germany during World War II the following year. Since she came to rest at the bottom of the ocean, the marine life has taken over the wreck, which is frequented at least weekly by scuba divers, often during their first wreck dive. Although her midships is quite broken up and has collapsed inwards, her bow and stern are fairly intact. Most of the cladding on her superstructure has also corroded, thereby allowing easy access for swim-throughs. Her stern area is by far the most intact and provides great views of the various stairwells and bollards. The engine and aft quarters are dark and inviting, but only for those properly qualified. Her massive stern sits proudly upright on the sandy bottom, offering many sights for divers and hiding places for the inquisitive marine life. With 2019 being the 75th anniversary of the D-Day landings, and considering the vital role played by the HMS Pelorus, now the SAS Pietermaritzburg, it is only fitting that homage is paid to all those brave men that served upon her on that auspicious day of 6th of June 1944. We salute all those brave men that unselfishly contributed to their country. For those sailors that fell in battle, rest in peace, and may your contributions never be forgotten. May the role that the HMS Pelorus played on D-Day live in our hearts forever.